Casting out of Studio B. To my left is young phenom Ben Bottomley,
Hello.
and of course joining us from the engineering booth, producer extraordinaire Phil Zvitek.
Welcome, welcome.
All right, so right off the bat, the swimmer.
Yeah.
Got to talk about the swimmer. First of all, I just love that they have different names. They have walkers, they have swimmers. Last week we had the crawler, and this week we kind of had, since he was no longer a swimmer, I called him a bobber. Because by the time he was cut in half, there wasn't much left of him to swim with. So, what do we think about the swimmer? Your thoughts?
That was people were kind of complaining that the show had enough interesting.
Had lost its edge.
We were a little guilty of that, but that definitely made up for it.
I loved it.
Perfect.
What was happening. First of all, we'll get into the intelligence, or rather lack of intelligence, to send Glenn down there as a bait. But when they were bringing that boy up, that big fat blob of the swimmer, and you knew something was going to go wrong, and when he swam into him, the entrails came out, and the huge vat of blood that followed it down the hole, I just laughed my ass off. I think that was hysterical. That was great.
What movie did it remind you of? It seemed like a quintessential kind of fat tub of lard
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah,
And there's so many movies that have kind of had that similar character that it's almost hard to pinpoint which one.
Yeah, I can't pinpoint one. Well, in one of our podcasts, you talked about RoboCop with the look of the guy.
Yeah,
that's how he reminded me of that. But then when his entrails all came out, and
What's that one?
huge volume of blood that went down the hole.
It's called shoot, what is it called? It's called Spinal something, or you guys know he's a superhero, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, it was sometime in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah,
but,
kind of know what that one is.
But yeah,
But I love the sausage entrails. That was nice. It really looked good. I was like, there you go, nice. And then he keeps the other half of him that was up on the ground above the well, still reaching out. The T-Dog, of course, finishes him off nicely. What are we doing now? Boom, boom, boom. T-Dog just going to town. Nicely done, T-Dog. And I like his line. It's too bad he didn't do something stupid like use a gun. You have to enjoy that. Okay, so now that I've had my fun with that, I have to speak to this. What are they thinking? Why? I mean, how stupid is it to send Glenn down as bait? I mean, seriously. I mean, I realize they're under stress, but I mean, how stupid? I mean, everybody's even Dale, who's supposedly one of the brighter ones of the group. I think this is a good idea, and I don't understand. They live on a farm. They showed cows. They showed whatever. Not that they're going to be able to throw a cow down there, but you'd imagine there are goats, maybe something else, something smaller. But why a human? I guess they needed a human to lasso one, but I guess that was their thinking. Rather, I thought they were just going to use some sort of animal as bait to get them. Why not just stick a ladder down there? Are walkers too stupid to use a ladder? Is that the idea?
No, in the pilot they were, or I don't know if it was a pilot, but there's a scene where Glenn and Rick are climbing up a ladder and some are following them.
Yeah. So you stick a ladder down there, and you stick a live animal on a rope, and
It will chase it.
And the other thing is, I was asking, wait a minute, why don't they stick a live animal? Somebody said, well, they only eat humans, but they eat a horse. So what are the rules here? They eat certain kinds of animals, but not others. Is he a finicky swimmer? What's the you can only he's just I don't want to eat horse. I don't want to eat squirrel. Whatever the heck they can find to put down there. So
I don't know what. I mean, I think at the end of the day, just some sort of hook, hook him one way or the other.
I mean, I get why they did it, because they wanted the jeopardy of Glenn being put down. But you knew as soon as Glenn's going down the hole on a rope, you knew, okay, something bad's gonna happen. So there wasn't really suspension. There was no suspension of disbelief because you knew something's gonna happen. So he's gonna end up in a hole or getting close to being eaten or whatever.
I get the thing for me was I think if we got to that point, like, okay, we tried every method, Glenn, you gotta go down. Versus what's our first option? No, let's make that.
But that would be
last
cool.
resort option was first.
Yeah, no, exactly. That would be cool to show a few of them, and it just didn't work. And they go, well, okay, then that would have been interesting. It would have been funny. It could have been gruesome. It could have been really interesting, and it would have really dragged that thing out. I think in a good way. So that okay, Glenn, let's go. So, but they just look like idiots.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that? Any consensus on
I
that
agree.
point?
No, that was pretty stupid.
Jeez. And, I mean, come on. The thing is that drives me crazy is that you've got such a great hook here, and you have such a great premise that it doesn't take that much more to really follow it through. And I just think they kind of fell down on that one.
Well, I mean, for me, what was the kind of purpose of that? I mean, I think
they had to dig the well.
Well, we know that. I think it was. I mean, this is going to come back in the regard of, well, they tried to save, one of the wells, and that will be kind of the part of the reconsideration by the farmer. So obviously, I think the reason why I was so shortened down was because we had to go back into town with Maggie and Glenn.
I agree with you on
all
that.
These things.
Except that leads into my other point: is the pacing of the show was very slow, and I didn't think we needed all that waiting and nothing happening. Not necessarily nothing, but it could have been sped up much more to build attention. And I just don't know why we spent so much time doing things that we really didn't need to.
You're not the only one.
And
the internet is on your side.
Oh, and the other thing I was thinking is, if we went that route, and I love the idea of rather than starting with the last resort first, show me 2-3 times. It could have been quick cuts. It could have been this, and then it would have been fun, interesting. The pacing would have been up. It would have been much more successful event. That's my point.
Yeah, I agree. I was on your side.
Yeah. So okay, but speaking of the pacing now, it's my contention that the pacing of this is slowing down even more than the first episode of this season. What do you guys think? And do you think it's even slower than last year's?
I think.
Go ahead, man.
I think it is slower than season 1. It just feels like, season 1, had half as many episodes, but it definitely moved along faster, probably for that reason. But yeah, it just doesn't seem as gripping.
Gripping.
Yeah. I think the problem is obviously AMC's been known to kind of take risks, like with Breaking Bad, seeing it go on for like 15 minutes, but you're so captivated because John, are you familiar with the concept of French scene?
French scene?
Yes.
Not by that term, no.
Well, it's the fact that, yes, you can have a 15-minute scene, but within those scenes, there's kind of like mini scenes.
Yeah.
Things are going on and changing, and so it seems like, although you're not leaving that space, it's almost as if it gets reset. And there's something at stake, whereas, with here, I think there's a lot of contemplating and theorizing.
Yeah.
And nothing changes within them.
Yeah.
And so it seems stagnant.
Yes, they don't seem to be moving the plot along, moving the tension along. Because, the case in point is Sophia. She's still missing.
Yeah.
And, it's the same story, same tension, but if it's the same tension, it's not tense anymore. It's the same thing they're going through. And I'm going, come on, let's go. And, scenes going, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but let me just mention this part of it. For instance, the Daryl scene when he goes into the house and he's looking. I don't know how long that scene is. It's about 4 minutes. And what happens? He doesn't find her. All he had to do is yell Sophia, and she wouldn't yell back, and he wouldn't have to go in the house. And I know they're trying to build attention, but it doesn't. For me, it doesn't fly.
At this point,
because then he leaves the house and then he yells for Sophia. So why would you do that? It just doesn't.
Well, the problem is, very much this is, I guess, in keeping with what would actually happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, for story purposes, you can't expect to do the same thing and get the same results.
Yeah, exactly. And for story purposes, seriously, who would not yell the kid's name? From outside from
maybe if there was, I don't know.
You're in there, and then you might go in to make sure she's not in there and not hurt.
Yeah.
But not to say, because you yell as soon as you come out, so you're not worried about anything afterwards. It doesn't make any sense. No.
I
Yes?
mean,
No,
I
I agree. I just don't know how to respond.
Okay, well, just
Yes,
you're giving it
I
up. But
agree.
it's driving me. So anyway, that kind of so the pacing of the show is just I'm waiting for that tautness to come back, and it doesn't seem to be happening. And I'm just wondering if anybody else is feeling the same kind of thing.
Well, I think I mean, I'm sure you'll segue into this, but I really like your idea of if they stay here,
Yeah.
which obviously what Rick is doing.
Right.
By
So yeah, let's go to that point then, because the other thing we wanted to discuss is the Rick's request of Herschel to reconsider them asking the group to leave. Rick wants to stay there because he wants to keep Sun protected, et cetera, et cetera. And so we were discussing what would that do to the show, because obviously they would be no longer be on the run. So everything now would be okay if any walkers showed up on the property.
Yeah.
So that obviously changes the show to some degree, but really at this point not really much, because except for the occasional outing, there's not much going on. So.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think we got to keep moving. I think we still haven't found that agenda.
Yeah, I know they're missing that. They have to be doing something. Either they need to go to a place where they hear that the virus hasn't hit, so they know they've got a safe place to live and whatever, or they need to be moving towards they hear there's a cure that if you go here you can find it or whatever. So now they've got something to do, something to strive for. Otherwise, they're just waiting for something to happen to them rather than them taking proactive action.
Yeah, at this point, it's still about survival, which was season 1. So
Yeah.
we've gotten 11 or 10 episodes of that, and
Yeah.
I think we're kind of all ready to have a goal and do something different.
Something to move on to. So how would it look? I mean, let's say if they decide, okay, let's say Herschel says, okay, you can stay. Now, what does that show like that look like?
I mean, it's almost the equivalent of kind of those free online games where you're defending the castle.
Yeah, exactly.
But you'd need all this. Then at that point, you'd have to kind of be like, okay, this is probably not the safe spot because
Yeah.
we're having to shoot 800 zombies every day.
We're gonna run out of ammunition. So eventually they have to leave anyway, because that's the game. They're gonna run out of ammunition, so they're just gonna get overrun. And maybe who knows? Maybe that'll be an interesting episode at least. They get overrun by 800 zombies. They run out of ammunition. They gotta take off. That'd be kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But it just obviously, they want their lives to be as easy as possible, and there just needs to be some sort of way of if they're not going to go out and create the tension, which obviously they don't want, then the tension has to be thrown
Forced upon them, and then it's how they react to it that allows us to stay glued to our seats, so to speak. So, but that would be fun to see a bunch of 800 walkers coming at them and taking them out. And of course, they wait them out, run out of water because the guy fell into the well. So,
But again, I think because then I think to a large extent that would be contrived.
Yeah.
And so you'd want like something idiotic, hopefully not as like the well, but like something to the extent where like Glenn's doing something and he just like leaves I don't know, whatever, a trail of I don't know.
so someone follows them back and stuff like that. Gotcha.
And then like that walk calls in A. It's kind of like the ant effect, like the main ant, the scout
Yeah,
ant,
exactly.
and then all of a sudden,
Hey, look where you are, everybody. Hi, how are you? So let's move on to Maggie and Glenn. So we were talking last week about was it last week or the week before, prior to that? When they first met, I was talking about I was sensing a little thing between them, that there's a little attraction going on there, and we got to see that thing played out a little bit farther here. First of all, I thought it was really funny how was it Rick that was telling Herschel that Glenn's our guy to go to town, and so you should take him with him.
Yeah.
And then Glenn's all for it until he hears about a horse. He's not used to being on a horse, whatever. That was kind of funny. And then when he sees Maggie riding up on the horse, of course, we get to see him admiring her. And Laurie asks the awkward question, "Could you pick something at the store for me?" I thought it was a great takeoff of how many guys have been asked to pick up something at the store for their girlfriend or wife.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, really? You're gonna make me do this?" So,
what would you guys think it was?
I thought right away it was a pregnancy test.
Did you?
I did. It's like,
Yeah. I think I mean I don't know. For me, it was tampons.
Yeah.
Tampons.
Mhm.
I thought it was a pregnancy test.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well,
No,
I didn't.
hindsight is 2020, man.
no, but I mean,
Like, what else could they have done? I was thinking, like, okay, if they're gonna make a point to have her ask Glenn, it's probably gonna be something big.
yeah, I think they pushed the agenda because how would he not know what a tampon was?
Yeah.
So it had to be something more than that. So
I guess. I mean, Glenn's just such an awkward character that he played. Even if it was just
Yeah.
tampon, I think he played. It
True.
didn't matter. He could have
True.
inserted anything there.
True. I just think
but,
they oversold
okay.
it, so it made me think that. But I love it. But you're right about Glenn being such an awkward character. That was why he was so great in the pharmacy. His reaction was just priceless. When they were and he said, what was his line he said?
At which point?
Oh, when they're finally in there, and of course, and he's sending Maggie off to go find whatever, and he's saying, and then she comes back and he hides what he's looking for and grabs the next box so he doesn't reveal what Laurie wants him to get, and he has a box of condoms. And she says, and he's freaking out. And she goes, "Well, I'm not good enough." No. Yeah, no. I just loved his reaction. I thought it was really well done.
And the one word he says, or not one word, but phrase. Yeah, I never have sex.
Exactly. Well, I'm not good enough. No, you want no. Wait, what? You just and then she goes, "I'll have sex with you." Why? That's a great. I know exactly. But his character is so well defined at that point. That one little line, "Why," is great.
Yeah.
And that's classic. I mean, that was terrific. I thought that was a lot of fun. Now let's juxtapose this with Laurie's needs at the pharmacy. So we find out later, of course, she's doing a pregnancy test. Now, what do we know? Is it Rick's baby? Is it Shane's?
I mean, it's definitely got to be changed to it.
Yeah, we're not gonna. There's no way they're gonna find out.
Yeah. No.
At least not in this current situation, because how are they gonna find that out? So that's Laurie's nice big conflict now. So so we have to talk a little bit. Why go outside to do the pregnancy test? I think that you were having the most challenging fun with this.
Yeah, I think you just go in the bathroom.
Yeah,
right?
but
You
why
have
don't we
private-
just use the bathroom? Why does she have to go outside? She carries the knife with her and everything. I was like, what are they trying to, what's with the knife? And she's carrying a knife out there because in case she runs into a walker out there, she can use the knife to defend herself. If that's the case, why go outside in the first place?
I really don't know. I mean, if she's worried about disposing of the pregnancy right after,
Yeah.
you could certainly do that, but still use the bathroom beforehand.
Yeah, that was a strange thing. The
What
knife
a
was.
strange woman at this point.
Yeah, but I'm wondering what the writers were trying to create. What kind of experience or feeling were they trying to get across by having the knife involved? And why go outside? Because couldn't you get the same information and wouldn't it seem more? I just don't understand why the character Laurie, would go outside to do this.
I mean, I really don't know.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it was just me then.
No.
Weird. All right. What's our next thing?
Well, we should talk about Shane a little bit. Obviously,
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yes, definitely.
We left off last week with the new change Shane, and the
Yes.
first thing we see, he's got overalls.
Yeah.
He's a whole different man.
He looks like Otis because he's wearing Otis's clothes. Remember, she said here,
Oh, that's right.
Maggie says, "Got the clothes for their Otis's," and so now he's actually in the man's clothes who he just killed. But I thought the opening was great because they're collecting rocks. I don't know what the rocks are for until a scene or two later when we find out they're the rocks that they're burying in honor of Otis. And they ask Shane to say a few words in Otis's memory. So, his mother wants Shane to share his final moments. She needs to know his death had meaning. So
Yes.
Shane spins a yarn. We get to see the nice juxtaposition again between what he says and a flashback of what he's seeing, and so that was kind of fun. Oh,
But let me ask you this: do you think Andrea knows? Because what I read,
Andrea.
one of my favorite things of this episode was when they're in the woods together.
Yeah.
And he says, you got to turn off the switch.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna paraphrase. You got to turn off the switch.
Right.
Just get in, get it done, don't forget about it. And she says to him, I guess that's a lot. Or I think he may actually say this.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I haven't learned to do. Is
Yeah,
forget it.
yeah. And he's obviously he's trying to tell Andrea how to too. But he's actually trying to convince himself, and that's kind of, I think it comes across clearly that he's trying to convince himself that this is what I got to shut it down. And he can't. But I don't think Andrea knows. I think she was just acting as any person would when they're talking to somebody who's a law enforcement officer and they had to use a gun and it's actually killed somebody. So I don't think she's got a hint that he actually killed Otis. I don't think. I mean, I thought his performance at the gravesite was pretty convincing.
Yeah.
So I don't think she has any idea. Any thoughts on that?
I don't think she does. Yeah.
And I thought that was a great scene, by the way. I think that right now we talked about this before, but I think Shane's character is the one that's best developed, and they're giving him the most things to play. Daryl, though, on this episode, I thought did a great job. I thought, because first thing is he's leaving the farmhouse, he's going to search for Sophia. He has Rick wants to say a few things to him, and Daryl basically just tells him, "Piss off, I got to do something." And so he's that kind of character. And then later on in the show, he does the whole thing with the Cherokee Rose thing. You can see a totally different side of him.
Which does not get enough credit.
No, he doesn't. And here the whole episode is called Cherokee Rose, and the whole thing about the rose and the Trail of Tears and the Indians, and that the Indians were praying for something to uplift the mothers, and that the roses grew where tears had fallen. That's a great story. Terrific story. And he says, of course, Daryl's telling this to, I forgot her name, the mother of Sophia.
Carol.
Thank you. I think these flowers are blooming for your daughter. I mean, what a great thing. Because she had lost all hope this episode. Clearly, when she was waiting at the car, where that note is waiting on the windshield for Sophia to wait here because we'll come back every day, and Shane and Andrew were there. She doesn't want to hear it anymore. She's lost all hope. And with Daryl's later on in the episode, with Daryl saying that whole story about the Cherokee Rose, she now has some little hope that they might find Sophia again. And this is a great thing in the episode. It was almost a throwaway.
I don't know if, I mean, I think it was exceptionally executed, but within the context of the whole episode, it just gets lost.
Yeah, it did get lost.
You know what I mean? It's like you throw 500 things on you, what do I focus on?
Right.
And, there's just all this other stuff that took over.
Clearly, emotionally, for me, this was the high point of this particular episode. I thought the way they handled it well, the way they executed the acting, the writing, everything was superior in that particular scene and the way that Daryl had done it. And even the way that Carol had responded. Yeah. I mean, that really, I started to have hope again. And I hadn't even cared about Sophia. I got tired of her. Yeah. It's like, go find the Carol, get rid of her, And now I'm going, oh man, the poor mom. And then I started to feel for her again. So with that particular scene, it kind of turned it around for me. Did you have the same feeling?
Yeah, I was pretty moving, but, I think it was in the wrong episode. Like,
you should have been happening a prior episode?
Or a future one if they
really?
drag it out longer. But,
please don't drag it out
longer. Yeah, but no, you were saying there was just way too much stuff and we didn't know what to focus on. Like,
well, I think here's the, I disagree with that. I think it should have been sooner.
Earlier in the episode or earlier in prior episode?
Prior episode, because here's what I'm starting to get the feel of. These guys have a lot more episodes to work with.
Yeah.
And so I think they're trying to fill it with important things and fillers and things like that. It's sometimes reminiscent in network shows where you've got 22 or so episodes that you've got to fill.
Yeah.
And so
stretching that out.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas with cable shows, you're like, okay, I can compress and make the story really streamlined. But I think the exercise of going from 6 episodes to now 13, they're stretching that out. And I would like to see rather than the timeline of seeing like 10 days go by or whatever. I don't know what the whole season is.
Right, yeah.
But let's cover a span of 50 days.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It feels like, and I may be completely wrong on this, but it feels like this season they basically took the same amount of stuff and put it in 6 episodes that they're stretching to 13. So it's like taking twice, almost a little over twice as long to say and do what they did before. And I think that's a mistake.
Yeah.
It feels like that you're trying to drag things out rather than just come up with more stuff.
Exactly. You have the perfect opportunity for more things.
Exactly. And you've gotten us used to certain things. This is the stuff we tuned in for. This is what we want. And then it's like,
And again, I think as the sort of mind is, obviously we know about Sophia and things like that. And so, but I think that the closer you can have it to that moment of whatever inception or whatever for. When Sophia was first lost, the moment more you can have closer to that, then the more kind of meaning it obviously has.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. And the more that storyline is not compelling, you are invested in it, you're taking full participation in it, and then you get to see that to its fruition. Whereas now we forget about it because all this other stuff is happening, and it's really way on the back burner. And then you remind us. Now, granted, I just said that it brought me back and made me care about the kid again, Sophia. But I do not want this thing dragged out. I want to find the kid and move on.
Yeah.
So I mean, even though it worked for me in this particular episode, it didn't work overall because you already lost me 2 episodes ago. Because for all those reasons I've already said. So what was the other thing that was happening that we wanted to mention?
Well, we always do favorite zombie kill.
Oh yeah, well we only really had one, so
we only got one.
You gotta love T-Dog for that. How about Glenn though? When he gets pulled out of the well, he goes, Dale says, I'm starting at square one. What do you say?
You.
Says you, and obviously he roped him nicely done, Glenn. But yeah, I mean, we already talked about it.
It was glorious. I would say.
It was glorious. Glorious. A glorious Walker kill. Yeah. Swimmer. Thank you, Bobber. If you ask me. But I mean, he was nice. It was a little overkill, but it's kind of fun at that point. All right, if you're gonna show it, and you're gonna just keep beating him, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes, for T-Bone, I think it was a matter of you really don't want to see walkers too many times, but you want to take out your anger on them.
Yeah.
And so when you're given a perfect opportunity like this, like go to town.
Yeah.
It's almost like kind of like an office space moment for him where he's just like, yeah, take that walker. So
they had that nice moment between. Actually, I like the storyline between Herschel and Rick. I thought they did a good job. Man.
We haven't touched that.
Yeah, Herschel says, look, I don't know how to be cruel. I don't know how to say something cruel, but as soon as your kid's okay and everything's good, you need to go. And of course, Rick says okay. And the next time we come back to them, they're looking out over that vista, or maybe it's the same time. I can't remember. Yeah, they're looking out over the vista, and Herschel says you need to stop and pause and take in the wonder of it all, or have an occasional reminder. And then they start talking about the God talk, and Rick says, I try to keep God out of this because he's got a weird sense of humor. So and then we come back to it. Anyway, I just like that because then Rick at the end is talking about they need to reconsider and stuff. I thought that storyline was nicely played out. Just hitting those moments, and they didn't take very long at all to do that, which I thought was great. They didn't have to. These characters are very well drawn, and then you just have to say the right words, and that's it. You don't need to go any farther with it. That's what 2 guys do.
Yeah.
So
yes,
that was very good. So you guys want to go commercial and come back to news and gossip and all that stuff?
Let's do that. Yeah, I think we can. Please take us away to commercial.
Let's do that.
Right.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Genesis the drama. Is this the divide that is going to carry the series?
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
They're television and they want to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's serious.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig!
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on. AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, guys, you ready for this?
Let's hear it.
I'm ready.
Not a lot of news and gossip this week, but Converse,
Yes.
a shoe company, as you may know, is coming out with a line of Walking Dead shoes.
They're really great too.
You seen them?
I've seen
Seriously?
them.
What's
They
so good
have
about
a
it?
beautiful on the white tip. There's a
Yeah.
beautiful blood splatter all over it.
Way to go, Converse. Way to capitalize on that. That's nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah,
Cool.
that is one bit of news and gossip. But this isn't necessarily news and gossip, but I do want to kind of talk about it because it's a spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
All right, what's up?
All right. Well, fans are already talking about this for next episode about how people agree that Glenn has the right take on women, and so
Oh, really?
So I want to play this clip. It's courtesy of AMC. Check it out on their website. But here it is.
You think Andrea's on her period? I'm only asking because it's like all the women are acting really weird. and I read somewhere that when women spend a lot of time together, their cycles line up and they all get super crazy hormonal at the same time.
I'm going to advise you to keep that theory to yourself. Who else is out there?
Maggie. She started off being mean to me. Then she wanted to have sex with me. And now she's being mean to me again. And I don't even want to know what's going on with Lori.
What's going on with Lori?
Nothing. I don't know.
All right, listen. Take this back a step. How do you know that Maggie wanted to have sex with you? Oh,
Great luck.
Sonya didn't. Did it ever occur to you how her father might feel about this?
She's 20. She's 22.
There you go.
And he is our host.
He doesn't know.
Well, see, there stays that way. Jesus, Glenn, what were you thinking?
I was thinking that I might be dead tomorrow.
See the entire episode when it premieres Sunday, November 13th at 9. Only on ABC. Telling the best original stories on TV. For more exclusive video, go to amctv.com.
And there you have it, Glenn's take on women.
Yes.
So who's saying that he has the right take on women? Women or guys? I'm sure it's guys.
I'm sure it's guys. I mean, I think for the most part, guys watch the show. So
Sure.
So it's them.
All right, the last little bit of news and gossip I have is that Sarah Wayne Callies, who plays Lori, has said that she'll be taking up arms this season. Like last season, she was the heart of the group. Well, Rick was the brawn of it, but apparently with the new, or I should say the oncoming threats, she's going to have to take up some arms. So that'll be interesting. That's why I thought when she pulled up the knife today, I go, it's going to be the night. But no. So anyway, so we'll be looking forward to that. She's going to have to kill some zombies of her own.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That
More zombie
means
kills.
more zombies are
Hopefully
gonna
she'll
be
make the top 3. We like to top the countdown of our walker kills.
We do.
All right. Well, I have no other news or gossip, so let's move on to predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, the first thing I'd like to ask is not a prediction I have, but I want to talk about what's with the badges being put in the drawer. What do they signify? What does it mean for the next couple of episodes? What do we think? What can we prove? What do we know?
Well, I think this was after the talk with the farmer, right?
With the farmer, right?
So I think it means that.
But it's especially took right after he talked to his son.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
And he gave him his hat.
Gave him his hat. He apologized to Lying for lying to him, and then right after that lied again and caught himself. And so he's trying to be more honest and truthful. And he even said to Herschel, "Look, they looked at me for answers. I wish they didn't, but they do."
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it means I think they've to some extent come to an agreement. Like, okay, they're going to stay here, and I think it's Rick being like, finally, now I found a safe haven for these people, and I no longer need to do all the things I've had to do. Now it's going to get easier.
Yeah. So I
don't
can take this responsibility off my shoulders
Yes.
and just be a dad, because that's what he says. I'm a dad.
Yeah.
I just don't want to, ruin it. So maybe what that's what he's trying to do is get out of that responsibility.
I think so.
Because the whole time he's always talking to Shane, we have responsibility to people, and he's tired of the responsibility. I just want to try to take care of my kid and leave me alone.
Yeah.
So do you think? But that's not going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So he's going to have to do something. The badger's going to come back on.
I mean, if that's what happens, then no, that won't make for a good show.
Yeah,
at
I
all.
don't think so. I don't think so. Or unless it's his descent down, but I don't know. Which then you get more of a Breaking Bad kind of thing. But it'll be
Maybe.
interesting to see how.
But
that
Shane's
plays out.
already taking on that role.
That's true.
Descent into
That's
hell.
true. That's true.
I think maybe we weren't so off about the camp being or the house being overrun because in the preview,
Yeah.
Andrea said Walker. She's
Oh,
Walker.
right. That's right. That's right.
And if if they did agree that they could stay, that wouldn't be a good show. So they're gonna have to. I'm assuming they're gonna move on eventually.
Yeah,
and that would be a pretty good reason.
Yes,
too.
since you guys showed up, Otis has died. We had Walker show up. You guys got to leave. That kind of thing. So if he leaves, it would only make sense that he would take his badge and everything with him.
And then have
to
that
everywhere.
responsibility.
Talk of the Town is Merle's coming back next episode.
Yeah, they showed him with Michael Booker. They showed him in the preview.
Weird. That was weird to me that they would show that in the preview.
Yeah.
You'd
No,
think that they would
because
save that for the actual episode.
No,
Well,
but
they want to promo it so you get more people watching. Merle's
exactly.
back. Merle's back.
That's the whole thing. We've all been waiting. We knew it had to come back.
Yeah. And I don't know what. It'll be interesting to see the showdown too. Not only between Merle and Rick and Shane, but Merle and Daryl.
Yeah.
Daryl doesn't even have much love lost for his brother.
No. And
But I think Merle's gonna be pretty pissed with everybody.
Why? What? What does he got to be pissed off about?
I think he has every right to do this stuff.
What?
But yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, not too much. They obviously the Sophia storyline.
Will they find her next week?
I hope they
They
do.
did that promo it, so we'll have to wonder. But I
Well,
say they
since-
better.
Since she lost all hope, I'm
Yeah,
hoping that
exactly.
now they're finally
Right.
gonna find her and we can move on. from
Yes,
that
we can
storyline.
move on to something else.
Yeah, no, I think they will.
I predict. Sorry, go ahead.
What I will say, I think if zombies do attack the farmer's house,
Yeah.
I think don't let it become kind of a go-to thing because
No.
that's what happened with CDC. They found a safe haven, or so they thought, and the kind of escape from that is, we're running out of oxygen, blah
Yeah.
blah, and we're about to self-destruct in an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't tell us that.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't want that to kind of become the
No, I can't because that's
thing.
boring every week. I predict that next week something will happen, so they're going to have to leave the farmhouse because you got to get them back on the road. You got to get them back out into the elements because then each week they've got something else to deal with out in the world rather than being stuck in one place and have the same thing happen all the time. That keeps us more interested because something new will be going on every week.
And they have walkers to kill every week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that move on.
And I think just even if the goal was, okay, we got to get from here to, let's say, Los Angeles.
Right.
That whatever 6-7 day journey.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Every week you can have a new kind of episode based off of that.
Yeah.
But
or move towards like we got to get. Yeah, you're talking about Los Angeles. It's just going to take us 13 weeks to get there. Whatever it is, and each week is moving towards that. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
so we just need that. But John,
Yes. No, that's it. I don't have any other predictions. I got it. I'm done. Anybody else?
I'm good.
Okay. What about you, Phil?
That's
You're
it.
complete? He is complete. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for another podcast, Walking Dead Season 2. I don't know, is this episode 4? 4, that's right, called Cherokee Rose. Well, we are AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, John Comerford, with Ben Bonnelly and Phil Zvitek. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. We're out.
Sunday night.
Oh, that's right.
Sunday night.
Sunday
Sunday
night.
night at 7 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Or 7:10.
Oh,
Or
7:10. Yeah, I was
7:10.
trying to forget that.
8:10.
Okay, now we out now? Can we say we're out?
Yeah,
We're gone. We're leaving. We're done.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Kennedy, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only, do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Hey, AfterBuzzers, before we move on to your next topic, we just want to say thanks to our sponsor, Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Plus, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Plus, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for The Walking Dead. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip about The Walking Dead. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off, and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for The Walking Dead.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us. I'm your host, John Comerford, and I am not joined by the young phenom Ben Bottomley this evening. He's off. But I am joined by producer, engineer, and co-hosting from the booth, Phil Zvitek.
Yes, that is me. How are you guys doing tonight?
That's right. We'll be doing the season 2, episode 5, Chupacabra. Chupacabra, aptly named. Okay, before we get anything, we have to talk about the opening of the season. I mean, this particular episode. We were both watching that. We're going, what